ASEAN's priorities and its response to regional and international developments, including the situation in Myanmar, dominating talks at the ASEAN Foreign Ministers Retreat in the Philippines. In a social media post, Singapore Foreign Affairs Minister Vivian Balakrishnan says his ASEAN counterparts agreed the grouping must remain united to maintain peace and stability. He added that ministers also exchanged views on strengthening economic cooperation, advancing the digital economy and promoting sustainability and the energy transition through the ASEAN power grid. Dr. Balakrishnan noted that the retreat provided a timely opportunity for Cambodia and Thailand to meet and discuss a way forward following their ceasefire. On the sidelines of the retreat, Dr. Balakrishnan held several bilateral meetings with regional counterparts. He first met Vietnamese Foreign Minister Le Ho Trong and discussed ways to further strengthen their comprehensive strategic partnership. With Indonesia, Dr. Balakrishnan explored ways to deepen ties ahead of the 60th anniversary of diplomatic relations in 2027, reaffirming a shared vision of a stable and prosperous region. And with Cambodia, talks covered regional developments, including the Cambodia-Thailand border situation, with hopes that issue can be resolved through dialogue and ASEAN-led mechanisms. On this, Aries Arugay, he's a visiting senior fellow and coordinator of the Philippine Studies Programme at ISEAS Yusof Ishak Institute, joins us live from Manila. Professor Arugay, the headline issues, and that doesn't mean these are the only issues, but Thailand, Cambodia, Myanmar crisis, and the Code of Conduct. On just these three issues, which do you think the Philippines will make the greatest headway in this year as chair of ASEAN?
Yes, the chairmanship of the Philippines, I think the Marcos Jr. administration wanted to define it as a way to regain some of the perceived loss of centrality of ASEAN in dealing with regional issues in Southeast Asia and the Indo-Pacific region. And primarily given that peace and security challenges are very much prominent, I do think that the Philippines as chair will hopefully will rally the rest of the region, the members organizations of ASEAN, to prioritize ensuring peace and stability in the region, given the Myanmar crisis, the Thai-Cambodian conflict, as well as regional flashpoints that includes the South China Sea.
But you see Thailand and Cambodia, that particular, could become, dangerously so, a low-level sustained fight on the border. Do you see the Philippines perhaps making greatest progress on that particular issue?
Right. I think the Philippines is uniquely placed is that it doesn't have any stake, and it could be seen as a relatively neutral arbiter. I think it's also critical for the Philippines to spearhead that the regional organization takes precedence in settling disputes and ensuring that force is not used by member states. And there have been supposed to be suggestions to put in place ASEAN-led dispute resolution or dispute settlement mechanism so that conflicts like this won't be able to be openings for either outside powers or superpowers to meddle and to influence the outcome, rather than having it really a regional affair and not something that is could be intruded by external powers.
So by that same reasoning, Professor Arugay, the Philippines, which has a stake in what happens in the South China Sea, the Code of Conduct, it might make least headway there, despite the common perception, certainly domestically, that as chair of ASEAN, it might have some function setting the agenda for what happens in ASEAN.
Yes, definitely, because there's so much expectation that the Code of Conduct is something that the Philippines can push, given that it's taking the helm of ASEAN. But let's remember that chairing ASEAN means building consensus and ensuring that no one single Southeast Asian country or member gets to dominate the way the organization functions. I think the Philippines is extra sensitive about this, the necessity of ASEAN centrality and unity as expressed by the foreign ministers of ASEAN. And therefore, the Philippines will attempt not to really cause further divisiveness and disunity, and will try to inspire, hopefully, some collective action. And therefore, I think the code of conduct, at best, the Philippines can commit to making good progress. We were told that there would be more meetings, more negotiations, but I do think that members of ASEAN are already thinking of ways beyond the code of conduct to manage issues and disputes related to the South China Sea.
So in a way, taking away from, I suppose, any effort to enshrine the centrality of ASEAN, we have seen, not just on the South China Sea, but on tariffs last year, ASEAN member states, instead of working together to present a common front, making their own bilateral moves and putting their national interests ahead of regional interests. Is your read on this? Final question.
Yes, I think that is the instinctual reaction of small states. And let's not forget that ASEAN is an organization of small states. And given this superpower rivalry and increasingly fragmented multipolar world, that small states really at an extremely disadvantageous position. The key is not really for members of ASEAN not to prioritize their interests, but not to see that collective interest as as members of the same regional body, and individual interests could be mutually exclusive. So therefore, I think there's also a push of the Philippines to foster economic resilience at not just at the individual level, but the regional level. I do think that the Philippines will try to convince ASEAN members to rally around economic resilience, maybe emphasize more RCEP and other trading arrangements, so that small states, small economies, small to medium size economies in Southeast Asia will not be extremely vulnerable to shocks and to tariffs imposed by bigger economies.
Thanks to Professor Aries Arugay from the ISEAS Yusof Ishak Institute, speaking to us from looking ahead at this year of ASEAN chairmanship for the Philippines.